Hello, everyone. I am having an interview with Virgil, 2,040 years ago. What is your full name?
Publius Virgilius Maro, but you can call me Virgil, or even Virg if you like.
How old are you?
Well, let's see here. This is 20 BC, and I was born in 70 BC. So I guess that means I'll be 50 years old come October the 15th.
Can you tell us about your family and where you are from?
Oh, of course, I'd be happy to. My parents were farmers, like every good family, and I grew up along the Po River in the province of Gallia Cisalpina. For those of you who may not know, that is Gaul on the south side of the Alps mountains, as opposed to Gallia Transalpina, which is Gaul to the north of the Alps. I love growing up in the Italian countryside. There were so many good people, and I guess that experience of nature and appreciation of farm life has had a lot of influence on my poetry. Now, I've never married or been very active in public affairs. I guess you could say that I've been married to my studies and to writing. I'm probably the ultimate stereotypical scholar. Some might even call me a nerd.
So, how about your other influences? Where were you educated? What philosophies have shaped you?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I went to school at Cremona in Milan, which is a lovely city in northern Italy. Then, of course, I finished my education in Rome, the heart of civilization. I learned all about the greatest Greek and Roman authors, and especially the poets. Of course, rhetoric, which is the art of the argument, was a part of my training, and philosophy. That was very important to me as I was studying. One of my favorite teachers, Ciro, got me interested in Epicurean philosophy. But I eventually rose towards Stoicism when I got to Rome. You know, with these philosophies, when it comes right down to it, both led me to pursue and to write about acting in such a way that leads to the ultimate peacefulness of mind. So that's my education.
You have lived through some pretty crazy times. How would you describe the influence of recent events on your writing?
Well, we all know how sad those years and years of civil war have been. And having lived through a lifetime of civil conflict, obviously it's had a big impact on me. So it's really shaped particularly my latest writing, Aeneid. But let me get a little further back in the story. So when I was just a boy, the armies of Marius and Sulla were facing off in Italy, a terrible and awful civil war. And by the time I was 20, Julius Caesar marched his legions across the Rubicon and began another civil war with Pompey, which lasted for years as well. And then Octavian finally defeated Marcus Antonius at Actium just a decade ago and has brought about our current time of glorious peace. When Rome's legions were all under the control of various ambitious generals, we were always doomed to be in a conflict. The old Senate was powerless to do anything about it at all. Now, Octavian, the exalted one, or Augustus Caesar, has brought an end to all the war. He wields the power of the gods, for it was the gods who willed Rome to bring this peace to the world. Augustus has at the same time taken control of this great empire, but also preserved the democratic system of the republic. The Senate and the assemblies, they still function. He has orchestrated this vast civil service to carry out the will of the government. Roads are bringing life and abundance to the world. There is stability and prosperity. My writing celebrates all that is glorious about Rome.
You mentioned Aeneid as your latest book. Can you tell me more about it?
Oh, I'd be happy to talk about Aeneid. Now, you know, the story of Aeneid is rooted in the great epics of Homer. And now that the gods have sent Augustus Caesar to bring this peace to the world, we have to go back in the story, back to our roots to understand why Rome has always been so great. We have to preserve the traditions, worshiping the gods, morality, bravery, the tradition of family devotion, patriotic duty. Those are what have made Rome so great. We have to hold on to these traditions. And I have set out to tell the tale of Aeneas. He was the last of the Trojans, but the first of the Romans. As the Greeks were destroying the city of Troy, Aeneas escaped with his family. He is the embodiment of everything that is great about Rome. In the story of the destruction of Troy, Aeneas is saving his father Anchises. He carries his father on his back from the burning ruins of Troy and comes to be the first Roman in Italy. I finished several volumes of the story already, but I don't know if I'll even finish it all in its entirety in my lifetime. You know, there's going to be more to write, and this is a great undertaking, mind you. To write an epic is an epic task. And it may not be finished before I die, but I owe it to Rome, and I owe it to Augustus to give Rome her story. The gods have brought victory to Rome. Now our conquest will bring peace under the law to the whole world. And that's what Aeneid is about.
How has your success with writing affected your daily life?
Well, I'll have to admit it. It has made me popular. Our current period of peace under Augustus has been a time to celebrate all that's great about Rome. And people have found my writing to be like a national anthem for the empire. People often recognize me when I'm out in the streets. You know, they rush up and they want to talk and praise my work. You know, honestly, though, I prefer just being alone with my studies and with my writing.
Do you think your writing will have an influence going forward through history?
Now that is an interesting question. Well, of course, Rome's influence will last forever. In the epic Aeneid, I call Rome the empire without end. Rome is the eternal city. It will go on forever. As long as Rome's influence lasts, I suppose my epic story of its origins will go right along with it. Now, Latin, the language of civilization, the language of the eternal empire, it will certainly go on forever as well. And I have strove to perfect Latin verse in my poetry. I'd like to think that someday, maybe even 2,040 years from now, students will still be learning about me when they study the greatness of Rome.
Thank you.
I appreciate you having this interview with me, my friend.
Bye. Have a nice day.